Welcome to episode 4 of the Motivate This series, where I share tips for my daughter and you guys get to listen in. Today's tip is that mistakes are expected. I spent many nights tossing and turning, replaying in my mind times that I screwed up at work. I made a mistake. It happens to the best of us. It's part of the journey. On your resume, there's a section called experience. And other companies are willing to pay you for these mishaps, for these lessons that you've learned so that they can benefit. I've had over 20 jobs in my career, everything from flipping burgers at McDonald's to supporting Fortune 500 CEOs and everything in between. I learned something from each and every single one of those jobs. Losing is part of winning. You can't have one without the other. It's embarrassing to even think about all the many times I have failed in my career. Some people are afraid of looking bad in front of others, so they don't even attempt anything. I can't accept not trying. Worst case, I'll take the L, but there's usually a silver lining. For example, I had studied my heart out for the PMP, Project Management Professional Exam certification. I took 2 boot camps, I spent hours upon hours, and I failed. Now, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but you have no idea how many hours I had invested into studying for this test. And I was crushed. But then I got angry, and I made it my mission. I became obsessed with passing that exam. I spent I don't know how many more hours, and I still remember to this day, sitting there in front of the computer at the test center, and I hit submit, and I waited, staring at the screen to see the results, pass or fail. And I remember saying to myself, Sam, you gave it everything you had. If you don't pass this time, it just wasn't in the cards. And luckily for me, it said passed. Now, this test, just so you know, MBAs say it's harder to pass this test than it was for them to get an MBA, okay? So just to put that out there. Now, the story doesn't end. I was still pissed after I had failed that initial test. Even though I passed it my second time around, I was still so mad, I rented out a conference room at a hotel, and I held my own boot camp to help other people pass the same test. One of the guys in my class actually passed. Another time, I was in a humorous speech competition, a tournament for Toastmasters. I had gone through the first round and I was about to hit the second round, so I went to my former club to practice, to rehearse, to get their feedback. Well, they all said my speech sucked, basically. They didn't laugh, they didn't think it was funny at all, so it hurt, but I had 1 week to go before the competition, and I made it, again, my mission. I completely scrapped the whole damn thing, started over from scratch, and at the event, at the contest, I got huge laughter. I didn't win, but I was very happy with the product I created after only a week. And several people came up to me after the contest and said I was robbed, for whatever it's worth. They were like, you were robbed, it's a political thing, you should have won. The silver lining from that is that new speech was the foundation of my whole Brooklyn self-help shtick. That contest is where I first shared my story about how my brother and I waited up for Santa Claus by the fire escape window with a bet. Why? We figured Santa had this big bag of toys and we had a bet. The only thing in life that's guaranteed is change. Nothing will stay the same. I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, in what I remember to be a very Italian mob-run neighborhood. When I went back years later to visit, things had changed. I saw 2 guys kissing under the Verrazano Bridge. I saw people doing Tai Chi with swords in front of what used to be Caesar's Bay Bazaar. And all the Italians had left for Staten Island, aka Staten Italy. I say embrace change. Whether it's good or bad, that's all about perspective. You can't control what happens to you, only how you react to it. Acceptance and indifference is what the philosophy of Stoicism is all about. I strive to be more of a Stoic, heartless, to be more unemotional about what happens. But it's hard for me. I struggle with this. Like when Cartoon Wise family comes over, I want to not care, but I just lose my mind. They all annoy me. Last year, COVID stopped life as we know it. Although I lost my uncle, there's some good things that came out about it. For one, I didn't have to see Cartoon Wise family for like a whole year. Target trunk pickups and Fry trunk pickups became a thing, which I love. They're big time savers. And more companies are now seeing that people can actually work from home successfully. So to recap, guys, mistakes are to be expected. Don't beat yourself up. It's not worth it. Please like, subscribe, yada yada. Till next time.